Most people approach multiple income streams the way a gambler approaches a roulette table, placing small bets everywhere and hoping one of them hits. They stack effort, working a 9 to 5, and then trying to manage 3 different side gigs that have nothing to do with each other. That isn't diversification. That's a fast track to burnout. True income diversification for a full-time professional isn't about doing more things. It's about layering different types of leverage. Today, we are breaking down the blueprint for building multiple streams that actually protect your time instead of consuming it. The biggest constraint you face isn't capital, it's bandwidth. If you work 40 to 50 hours a week, yet you have perhaps 2 hours of high-quality cognitive energy left each evening. If you spend those 2 hours chasing quick cash tasks that require one-to-one labor, you haven't built an income stream. You've just bought yourself a second job with a worse boss. To survive the transition from 1 check to 3, you have to stop thinking about hustles and start thinking about tiers. Most people fail because they try to jump straight to passive assets without the foundation of a stable skill, or they get trapped in Tier 1 forever. And here's the part most people don't talk about. Most people who successfully build multiple income streams built them from one core skill that expanded into several formats. Not 5 different skills. One, applied with increasing precision. Here is the framework. The 3-stream model. Tier 1 is your cash stream. High certainty, low barrier income. It validates that you can make money outside of your salary, and it tests your positioning before you invest serious time in anything bigger. Tier 2 is your skill stream. This is where you productize a specific expertise. It's the bridge between trading time for money and trading value for money. And it's where the compounding begins. Tier 3 is your asset stream. This is where income starts to decouple from your time entirely. The rule is simple. You do not start all 3 at once. You build them sequentially. Income follows leverage, not urgency. If you try to build all 3 today, you will likely end up with 0 by next month. Most people build streams in the wrong order. They start with Tier 3, the asset, because it sounds like the best outcome. But without the market signal that Tier 1 gives you, and without the credibility that Tier 2 builds, a Tier 3 product is just a guess dressed up as a strategy. Let's look at the actual opportunities, filtered through the lens of a full-time schedule. Tier 1, the validation phase. Tier 1 is about reducing the friction to your first dollar. We're looking at service marketplaces or micro-consulting. Defined, deliverable tasks that match a skill you already have. If you have a background in operations, Tier 1 might be helping a small business owner set up their project management system on a project basis. If you have a writing background, it might be a specific type of content for a specific type of client. The narrower the definition, the faster the traction. Setup difficulty here is low. Time to first result tends to fall within 2 to 4 weeks. The leverage level is also low. You are trading time directly for money. But that's intentional. This tier is about validation and cash flow, not scale. The most successful service listings in crowded marketplaces are the most narrowly defined ones. Not, I do writing, but I write onboarding email sequences for SaaS products under 50 employees. Specificity reduces competition and increases conversion. Tier 2, the specialization phase. Once you've validated a demand, you move to the skill stream. This is freelance specialization, not general freelancing, but the development of a recognizable positioning within a defined market. Instead of helping with project management, you become the person who builds automated workflows for boutique agencies. But you are no longer just working. You are implementing systems. Platforms that reduce your setup time become worth evaluating here. Tools that allow you to replicate a successful client outcome in a fraction of the time don't generate income on their own, but they compress the maintenance overhead of income you've already built. The income range at this tier varies significantly by field and positioning. The compounding element is what distinguishes it from Tier 1. Client relationships, referrals, portfolio depth, and rate increases that build over time rather than resetting with each task. Tier 3. The compounding phase. This is where most people start, and it's why they quit. Tier 3 involves digital products, specialized templates, or niche content assets. The time to meaningful income is long, typically 3 to 12 months, sometimes longer. The leverage level is the highest of the 3 tiers, but the front-loaded effort is also the highest. Here's the structural advantage of building it in sequence. Because you've already done the work in Tiers 1 and 2, your Tier 3 product has built-in authority. You aren't guessing what people want. You're selling what you've already proven works. The product solves a problem that the skill stream surfaced. The audience comes from work already done. The credibility is already established. This is also where multiple streams can actually reduce income if mismanaged. And that's worth addressing directly. Every new stream you add introduces context switching. But if one stream requires client calls and another requires deep focus creative work, your cognitive bandwidth is constantly fighting itself. And if you manage this poorly, more streams lead to less total income. Your primary job performance slips. Your Tier 1 clients notice the drop in quality. Your Tier 3 asset never gets finished. You end up with 3 half-built things and no reliable income from any of them. Saturation is also a real variable. In Tier 1 and Tier 2, competition is high at the entry level. The only sustainable path through it isn't to undercut on price. It's to move up the leverage ladder through positioning and depth. Platform dependency is a structural risk that compounds quietly. If a single platform hosts your only income channel outside your salary, a policy change or fee adjustment can affect your position overnight. Building toward own channels over time, an email list, a direct client base, a product sold through your own infrastructure, reduces that exposure gradually. So, how do you choose where to start? The selection question isn't what makes the most money. It's what can I build within my actual constraints that compounds toward the outcome I want? 4 factors should drive the decision. Personality fit. Some people operate well with direct client relationships. Others find that energy consistently draining and work better building systems or products. Neither is superior. But selecting a stream that costs you the wrong kind of energy is a slow path to abandonment. Skill trajectory. The most sustainable income streams are extensions of skills you're already developing, not completely separate categories. If your day job involves writing, data analysis, project coordination, or any form of systems thinking, and the streams you build should accelerate that trajectory, not fragment it. Time flexibility. Some streams require synchronous availability, calls, real-time client work, scheduled delivery windows. Others are asynchronous, product sales, content assets, automated systems. If your employment schedule is unpredictable, asynchronous streams carry lower logistical risk. In some cases, if your primary job is high stress and leaves little predictable bandwidth, a Tier 3 asset might actually be your best first secondary move. Not because it pays quickly, but because it doesn't require you to be available on someone else's schedule. Upgrade pathway. The question isn't only whether you can start something, it's where that thing goes in 12 months. A stream with no compounding pathway is just a recurring task with no increasing return. The practical output of this framework is a decision to build one primary stream and one secondary stream, not 3, not 5. The primary stream gets the majority of available time. The secondary stream develops slowly in parallel, with the expectation that it won't produce income for several months. Only when the primary stream is systematized, meaning it requires less than 5 hours a week to maintain, do you look seriously at the next layer. The ultimate goal of building multiple income streams isn't to work 80 hours a week. It's to reach a point where your income is no longer a linear reflection of your exhaustion. Your 9 to 5 provides the floor. Your leveraged streams provide the ceiling. By building in layers, you ensure that if one platform shifts or one client leaves, your entire financial position doesn't collapse from a single point of failure. Diversification isn't a sprint to collect as many income sources as possible. It is a deliberate, slow-motion construction of systems that work when you don't. Stability first, expansion second. Your first task is straightforward. Identify which tier you are currently in and identify the single lever you are going to pull next. Not 3 levers. 1. Income grows where leverage compounds.